Hello and welcome back to Darren and Doing. I'm Hester and I'm joined by the brilliant Ben Bowman. Ben, what a weekend!
What if Carlsberg did weekends, right? All we needed was a city. All we needed was a city win to just really fucking just annoy those little gooners.
We got Liverpool, mate.
Exactly,
Liverpool.
Up the Reds,
Liverpool,
up the Reds.
Liverpool.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's a better feeling on a Monday morning than just, and I really want to soak it in, than Arsenal getting humbled.
Yeah.
And Tottenham fucking slapping their dicks across Villa and them, man.
It was like West. It was like playing
Unai Emery, happy 53rd birthday. Bosh in the
good
face.
Evening. Good evening.
John McGinn, ugliest player in the game, yeah? Bosh
like
in the face. Just
meatball,
fucking dick slapping them all. Mate, he's just been absolutely caught by the worst genes in human history, I think. I don't understand how someone could be that ugly. So,
yeah.
It looks like
horrible. It looks like he runs in jeans as well. So his bum's
got an
popping
absolute
out.
booty on him though. Yeah,
his bum's popping out of him.
All his genes went to bum, like all the good genes in him. But yeah, actually, I'll tell you what. Before we get on to the Aston Villa game, because we're gonna get onto that. It was unbelievable.
I will get onto that.
Of course. But I want to soak up every last bit of dopamine that I got from Arsenal.
Yeah,
losing.
Nothing better than a successful.
Are we seeing the collapse, the demise of Arteta's Arsenal?
Are you trying to tell me the wheels are falling off? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Mate, I'm telling you that Edu's fallen off, yeah?
Yeah.
Edu has left, yeah? So he's been like one of the mainstays in is that a word? Mainstays?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. He's been pivotal, yeah, in this Arsenal project, this trust in the process, bringing each players in. He's been so tight that everyone talks about how close him and Arteta are. Every time they sign players, it's them hand in hand, Arteta and Edu fucking next to their new signing, beaming smiles. They kind of look the same, like everything like that. Now he's left. Yeah. I'm telling you now, Arteta, this project is expiring.
Yeah, you reckon it's hit the expiry date?
We've seen it firsthand with Pochettino. Like you can only go so far without actually winning, and then each season when you constantly fail, you become more and more vulnerable and more susceptible to head dropping, thinking it's impossible. Yeah. And they dropped so many points already this season. City have been shit and they're 5 points below City already this season.
Yeah.
It's going to get to the point where the wheels are going to fall off. And I'm not being funny. We've seen it under Poch.
Yeah, we have. What was the famous Arsenal Fan TV quote from Claude, rest in peace, where he said, what do you do if the milk's gone stale?
Throw it out.
You don't put it back in the fridge, do you? You don't put it back in the fridge. You throw it out. It's expired. It's gone off. Arsenal expired. Arsenal are mouldy.
They're mouldy.
They've got lumpy milk. Arsenal are just a big starting 11 of lumpy milk. That's what they are. No, you don't want that. Do you want lumpy milk? What did you have for breakfast this morning?
I had it was nice. I had feta. I melted feta in a frying pan. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Then I cracked an egg on top.
Yeah.
I put avocado on some grainy seeded sourdough bread. Yeah. Toast.
Nice.
Yeah. Then hot sauce on top of the avocado and toast.
Yeah, necessary.
And then I put this egg, open the yolk up, fucking like we open Aston Villa's defense up, yeah?
Yeah.
Just spilling away.
Yeah.
And then the feta sort of hardened, it was fried, and that was part of the egg.
Yeah.
And then I topped up with a bit of fucking Salt Bay on a bit of spinach or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
That's class.
Sorry.
Do you know what Arsenal had? They had humble pie with a cup of coffee with some lumpy milk in it. It had gone off.
Yeah. And an email from Edu saying I'm fucking this shit off.
Yeah, Edu's P45 and a fucking lumpy milk coffee. All the best. They.
What do you think actually happened there though? Why is he leaving?
Do you know what's really funny? Apparently, so it's part of. Is it the Marinakis group? The Marinakis geezer that owns Forest owns all the other clubs.
Oh,
as
the
well,
guy that did the like GQ magazine.
Yeah, I think so.
That guy, yeah.
Apparently, they're trying to get him to. Apparently, they're trying to get him to go there. Offered him 3 times the wages. Imagine if Edu goes to Nottingham Forest. They're above him in
Forest
the league.
clipped Arsenal.
They pulled their little pants down. They've got them fucking soon, I think, as well.
That is ridiculous. Imagine Edu
Nuno's finally making us proud. Yeah, I know.
He actually is. Nuno actually delivered. I'm proud of him just for doing what he's done for Forest. It has nothing to do with us. I'm happy for him.
Yeah, either that or Arteta asked him for 1 too many defensive midfielders and defenders, and he's just, I've had enough of this. Yeah. Please let me buy a winger, please. No, not Edu, guys. You got to remember, Thomas Edison invented a fucking centre back, guys. It's just like this fucking obsession with like total control, and this is why it was so satisfying to batter Villa yesterday, because I think that Villa had a little bit of that about them as well, like breaking up the game and the dark arts, which is such a knobby fucking phrase, but like that's why like it just shows you. Like, do you know what? Do you know who was the real winner of this weekend? It wasn't Spurs. Obviously it was Spurs, but like it wasn't just Spurs.
It was football.
It was football. Football's the real winner. That's what happened.
Always the winner.
Football won because we showed just attack. I'm just going. I don't think we're going to defend anymore. I think we're just going to attack.
Yeah.
I think we're going to open you up.
That's what Bournemouth did as well.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
What team?
They couldn't live with them. City couldn't live with them. I think we're going to score.
Semenyo as well. He commented under Solanke's post.
He did. Yeah. He did.
Welcome to Tottenham.
Did you? I think. Did we we scored 1, 2? I think like 4 goals. Like that's good.
I think we scored 4 goals.
Good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like
I think so.
Arsenal, they're just like Arsenal. Oh, we got Trossard in the middle. Oh, we can't create anything. We simply cannot create. And Arteta's there like fucking control guys, fucking in the back 4, do the 2 lines of 4 guys. 1-0 down.
Do you know what as well? This came to me. Edu going. Doesn't Edu have a massive say on the manager? New sport director might want his own man.
He might have the fucking. I think that he's fucking taking the Thomas Edison light bulb to fucking Man City guys when Pep goes. Arteta went to City. Oh my! I'd love him. If he went to Man City, I'd be like dark arts.
Arsenal fans would not fucking live with that. A thing I've realised about Arsenal fans, which I did know before, but what I realised this weekend is that they will never look at themselves ever. Like if they're so stubborn, they will never actually they criticize themselves, when they're ranting and they're getting views and that. But when a rival fan says something about their team, they're like, no. What about you? What about fucking your defense? Yeah. But I think we're really good as Spurs fans of being like, we're shit.
Like Palace last week, we're like,
but that doesn't mean that you're not. Yeah. But that doesn't take anything away. At least we're quite like transparent, and we can actually admit that certain fragilities are in the squad or in the team, etc. I rowed so many Arsenal fans this weekend.
You caught some big ones.
The best thing I've ever done. First of all, it was meant for I don't have many followers on Twitter. It was meant for just like the people that phone me. I thought it'd be funny. I was watching the Arsenal Newcastle game, and I was like, yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm desperate. But I was going through transfer market, and I was thinking, how much have they actually spent on because I was looking at Timber. Obviously, they got Calafiori, Saliba, Gabriel. And they were just getting dicked up by Anthony Gordon cross, Isak in the middle of them. It was a great goal. But I was thinking, how much have they actually spent? I'm looking at Partey, or he who shall not be named.
Well, don't say it to Arsenal. They'll put him on the front of the match day fucking promo picture.
Yeah.
Fucking contract.
But anyway, I was looking at the transfer market. Anyway, I came to the conclusion. I tweeted this. Said Arteta spent 245 million euros on defenders and 200 mil on defensive midfielders since taking over Arsenal. Parks the bus most games and has still conceded more Premier League goals than Ange's Spurs this season. That's not true anymore because we conceded against Aston Villa, but we've conceded the same amount. Point still stands because of how much they spent and how far along they are in the process and how defensive they play. Yeah. So many people could not handle it. Generally, someone said the euros, like I used euros and then I used pounds, and they said that's jarring. I actually didn't know I did that. Yeah, and this Gooner forever on Twitter was like, it's to suit his agenda. Nothing else makes it look worse than it actually is. I did you a favour, mate. If I put euros on both, it would have been more. It would have looked like more money. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it actually helped you out.
One guy said, I hate people like you, people that say stuff like this, like that. Everyone was saying, if you're gonna, not everyone, but this guy says, if you're gonna troll, at least do it right. Arsenal don't park the bus. They did it once this season because of a red card, and that's all you can repeat, you sheep. Think for yourself. Stop thinking you cooked when you actually made yourself look retarded. And it's like, and it's so funny because I thought it was so funny, like all these tweets coming in. I'm not replying to any of them, so they're just getting like worked up and they're screaming into the abyss.
Yeah,
and oh mate, I just fucking love it. They're so touchy. Like I've touched so many nerves this weekend, and it's just like, oh, it's just catharsis. When Arsenal lose, it's like, what's better than Arsenal losing? Arsenal fans crying.
yeah.
And, it was just amazing. And then Spurs doing what they did. It was so good. But I'm really optimistic that there's going to be a collapse soon enough. And Real Madrid looking for a new centre back. I reckon Saliba might be like, fuck this off, I'm not winning anything. Yeah, I think there's going to be a little bit of doubt coming in. I think there's people, and you know what it's like under Mourinho, Conte, etc. When you're not winning playing that way, players start getting a bit frustrated and they start checking out.
Yeah, so, exactly. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
The allure of Madrid becomes too much.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Romero's having a bit of a shaky season. He knows that if he plays too well, that Real Madrid will buy him. So he's like playing 4D chess.
Exactly. Well, which
Saliba,
respect that from our centre back.
Oh, massive respect. Yeah. But let's move on to Aston Villa. Yeah. I want to take you to half time because I can't lie, my head was on Mars.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts in those 15 minutes that separated that terrible first half? I say terrible. It was fine.
It was flat, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, we'll talk about it. Yeah, but what were your thoughts in that moment? And then we'll get onto the second half later. But because I was thinking we were way too slow. Like the intensity wasn't there. Son was having an absolute stinker. Yeah, and that we'll talk about that left hand side. But I actually thought it was a game for Maddison to come on at half time at the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not the manager. That's a fair play. I was a bit annoyed at Ange at half time. I was like, Son, it's not working on the left. Like, this is a game for Maddison. Son's when he gets the ball, Son's like, oh, what am I going to do here? What am I going to do to like Cash? And he's like, what am I going to do? I'm going to pass it back. And then you're like, well, Aston Villa have just set up in defence now. They've and it's going to be even hard to like penetrate through. And I just thought Maddison maybe on the left would have worked. I don't know, but that midfield too, Sarr and Bentancur was working really, really well. I thought that was a perfect setup, and they were the only two giving a bit of bite because I feel like we were getting bullied at every aspect of the game. And the game was being dictated by Villa. You know how Arsenal at our stadium, they had control of us because they just sat deep and hit us on the counter. Villa were kind of doing the same thing, time wasting, going down, hard challenges, and that we couldn't really cope with the physicality. And at half time, I was thinking we need to treat fire with fire. Corners. Sorry, I'm just getting all like the negatives out of the way because I don't want this to be like negative. This is a positive podcast. Corners, mate. I know corners statistically we're much better on corners this season defending set pieces, much better. But that was so fucking soft the way we dealt with that, and it was for 5 minutes the referee was sorting the pushing out. It was 5 minutes to switch on and realize okay, Rodgers is like on Vicario, and yet we still retreat, and it was a shit show, and they scored like the easiest goal they're ever going to score in their life. First of all, I don't think Porro should have been on the front post.
No,
if you look at Kane when he was heading everything away when he was at Spurs, he was always to the front post. You need a tall man at the front post to head it away if it's there. Solanke maybe, but
a lot of Bournemouth fans said that, didn't they, about his ability to?
Yeah. But I was getting so pissed off because it was like everyone in their nan has a set piece coach now. Like everyone has and I still feel like okay, we've improved. because I feel like Ange is always like, yeah, don't worry, Mile's on it. He's not because I know Yennak actually he's not on set pieces. It's the guy that come in the summer, but I'm like, well, we're seeing the same problems, and there's still a vulnerability there. I know we're much better, we are much better, but there still is that vulnerability as shown yesterday. We need to have a set piece coach to progress, because they're the minor details. It would have been 4-0 it would have been 4-0 yesterday if it weren't for that sloppy error. Which
Vicario didn't make a save in the game, did he? Vicario didn't make a single save from open. They had that one chance with Watkins, but like you said, it would have been clean sheet.
Yeah, and that's why my head was on Mars at that point. So you take it away. Sorry, I rambled on a little bit.
I was really worried at halftime. I was really worried. I didn't see how, and I said it in the Fighting Cock group chat. I said it to everyone I was with. I was like, Villa. I said it in my preview video as well. Like Villa almost defended like it was a Champions League game, like how they kind of set up against Bayern, where it was like those wingers, whether it was going to be McGinn or Bailey. Obviously, it was McGinn, and then Ramsey on the other side really tuck in to make it like a 6 at the back. And make it really compact. There's no room to kind of create those little overloads down the sides. And again, every time we sort of did get any momentum, won the ball back and played forward, Onana just swept up the ground. He was immense in that first half. And it allowed them to kind of play out as well. I thought our press was pretty good in the first half. It wasn't quite as intense as maybe it has been in some other games. And that kind of, we were just a little bit, we looked like the team, I know it sounds really basic, but we looked like the team that didn't rest any players in the Carabao Cup in the week, and they looked like the team that rested their whole team. Like, I think McGinn was the only player that started in the Carabao Cup against Palace. So there was part of it that was that. I felt like we were playing okay, but Villa's defensive shape meant that we just kind of had to go side to side and just get little pop shots off from outside the box.
Yeah.
We couldn't play through them. We couldn't really lure them in and then play on transition. They weren't really pressing us that high either. They were kind of sitting back. So it was a hard one for us. And I was kind of with you. I was surprised that Maddison didn't come on. I was surprised he didn't make any changes. And there was a lot of chat in the build-up about like what was the right midfield pair to go with, and I was still undecided about by the time the game or by the time the teams came out. I said in my preview video, I was like, I was going to be happy with whatever he went with, because I think Maddison and Basuma had its pros, its cons. Sarr and Bentancur maybe had its pros and some cons as well. But it became quite clear 15, 20 minutes into the game that was 100% the right call. I thought Sarr's brilliance kind of overshadowed Bentancur in that game as well, because he was great in that first half, like snapping into things. It was just them two that were kind of showing that intensity. And there was a couple of times where Onana got away or Rodgers got away, and it's like, shit, you think of the direct runners that they've got in Ramsey, Rodgers, obviously, Watkins. They're kind of just running at your back four. And Sarr would just break it up and give a foul away or something like that. Or when the ball back, Bentancur would snap into a tackle. So that was 100% the right call. But I was frustrated at halftime. I just thought that Villa have just got that game smarts. Their away record was really good. The signs just weren't that positive. It didn't feel like it was going to open up for us. But I don't know what it is about that second half and these performances where we're just able to completely flip the game on its head. And we didn't really set up particularly differently in the second half. Obviously, the fullback, the Destiny Doggy and Heung-Min Son's kind of dynamic changed. I think Doggy was inverting too much in that first half, kind of cramping the space. It meant Sarr had a lot of ground to cover as well. And it was isolating Sonny out wide, but the box was too crowded to really get anything in terms of those crosses. And Sonny just wasn't really at it. Like, you look what 2 weeks rest or so did for him for the West Ham game. Yesterday, he looked like a player still playing through something. I mean, he was really sharp, obviously super sharp in the second half. There was a couple of moments in the first half where, like, that brilliant bit of skill on the touchline to get away from Onana. And it was like, okay, right, go. And he didn't look that sharp. And obviously he come off in the second half and when the game was really swinging our way, which felt strange, but Ange was never going to play more than 55 minutes or...
Yeah, it was premeditated that, because I was going to say, like...
It was, you wouldn't have come
I've never flip-flopped so much in the space of 15 minutes. Because at halftime I was like, he needs to come on. I went like full gammon. I was like, he needs to come on. He needs to go.
Get him off.
And then like 10 minutes later, I was like, what? Why the fuck? Why are you taking him off? I was like, and then I was like, okay, he has just come back from an injury. Like,
we must not forget it has been raining.
Yeah. And then Richarlison obviously got the assist. But so I was like, oh, fucking hell. So I'm so happy I'm not a manager. Like,
yeah. Be a manager, right?
I just thought Son came out and did everything. I know there was that little switch up, like you said, with Doggy coming a little bit wider, Son maybe, and it just suited Son's game a little bit more. But
Yeah.
he was just more direct. And I think when you're more direct, what we did in the second half is that we fought fire with fire. We absolutely brought it to him. And not only did it raise the intensity of the game, the speed of the game, which benefits us, but it completely levitated the crowd. The crowd was
100%.
unbelievable. John McGinn was saying how it got too much for him there. We were too loud. That shows what the stadium can be. And it was because we were just fucking absolutely clattering into him. Even if we didn't win the ball, Porro, Romero, absolutely destroying Watkins and Rodgers. Romero obviously got injured in doing so, but like the crowd want to see a bit of fight, like a bit, just a little bit, and it just, and the whole game swiveled on its head because we were getting bullied in the first half, and they were treating us like bugs, treating us way too soft, actually mugging us off with how much they were sort of dominating on the physical side, and we come out and we took it to them, and that, I think that's what happened. I don't think there was too much tactical change. But then you look at Son, direct running, trying to putting a cross in early, and he was doing step overs which were working. And then he got a nutmeg on the halfway line and he was running forward. He was winning fouls. And it was like that was for 10 minutes in the second half, or 15 minutes. He come off in the 55th minute, so 10 minutes, and it was like you saw more in those 10 minutes from Son alone.
Yeah,
and this is like a microcosm for the whole team, for the squad, but you saw more in him alone than you did in 45 minutes before half time. And it was like, this is what we needed to absolutely galvanize the whole stadium and make it hostile and suffocate Aston Villa, and that's what we did. And it got too much for him, and it was and then we just kept scoring. But I think that was the change. I think the intensity and the pace of our play and the aggression. And yeah, do you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. I was just getting up some numbers. They showed it on Match of Day 2 last night, where they were talking about like the physical intensity of Tottenham, especially in the second half compared to Villa. We had 197 sprints. They had 128. We beat them for intensive runs. We ran over 5K more than them. We won the ball back 11 times in the final third. They won it 0 times. 254 pressures to their 127. We were just bang at it in the second half. The intensity of everything just went up. It's hard because, like, when you're trying to analyze what changed, the West Ham game was obviously obvious because it was like Sarr. There was a change that happened that then changed the momentum of the game. Whereas, like, this was just a case of coming out second half and just being more at it, and they did not like it. Teams cannot deal with us. They really cannot deal with us when we play like that. And obviously, John McGinn said that. Obviously about the atmosphere and stuff, and it's one of those things where, like, I've complained about the atmosphere at times at home. Wednesday it was rocking, and yesterday as well. Sometimes look, it was early kickoff, 2:00 kickoff. Those games were always quite flat anyway. Took a while to get going. The crowd took a while to get going, but like you said, sometimes it is just like those tackles, and the crowd need to see something. It's like I saw a Liverpool fan talking about this about Anfield on Saturday. It was kind of the same thing, and obviously, like, Anfield kind of gets this thing of like, you know, the atmosphere is not good. It's just like the cop's not the same as it was. Like I don't know, football, like day trippers and tourists and whatever, like sort of ruining the atmosphere. It's kind of the same as like any Premier League ground, I suppose. But sometimes it takes like a couple. He was saying there was a moment where like Joe Gomez wins a header and then Trent wins a tackle, and it's like, and then everybody just feeds off of that, and then it completely changes, and then it becomes unplayable. And I think we've got that in us as well. And it helps when you become a lot more, like, because we're so aggressive and so direct, that kind of goes hand in hand with that in terms of people being able to feed off of it. It's not like we're trying to pick the lock. It's not like we're trying to, you know, just fans aren't getting frustrated because it's not like we can't break a team down. Whereas now it's like, okay, let's ride the storm. Let's be a bit more patient. They're going to have to sit in. And if we come out the second half just flying out the traps, get an early goal like we did against West Ham, I know we equalised before half time, but we turned it around really quickly. They've then got to come out and then you take the game away from them. That's why I was really proud of Tottenham yesterday, because there was a lull in the game of like, we equalised and then Solanke had that chance where Martinez saved it, and we just kept coming and kept coming and kept coming. And then Romero flies into that tackle, gets injured. Son comes off just before that as well. The game stops for about 5 minutes because Romero's down.
Yeah.
And then just before that as well, their players were all going down, lying on the floor, wasting time. The crowd are getting on the back of M. Martin as well, which is adding to the atmosphere. But then Villa did quite well to just sort of kill that. And I thought they'd got through it. But that's why I was really proud of Tottenham to just like come again. And again, Ben Davis deserves a lot of credit because the second goal
What a player.
What a player. I want to shake his hand.
I want to shake your hand.
When you look back at the second goal, it's such like an Ange Tottenham, and it's a lovely move, like when we get into that final third, but Ben Davis in and wins that tackle, and then we can go, and then we've got 6v5 or whatever. We can kind of, and you look at Solanke's position and how he's able to just ghost in beyond the last defender. Like it's such a, if you win those, it's like the reason we lost against Palace last week is because we were not physically intense enough, and we lost those battles all over the pitch. Yesterday was not like that. Look, they've got physically dominant players in Onana, which you're going to struggle to win all your duels against, right? And he was really important for them in the first half. But in the second half, those players that came, like Davis that came on, and like Dragusin as well, winning the headers, and Pat Sarr winning the second balls, and Bentancur as well. It was just like we were bang at it.
Basuma when he came on,
Basuma was great. And I was really happy with, like, I spoke about this in my video just now, and maybe we'll talk about it a bit later, but the game management after we went to 3-1 as well, it was brilliant from Tottenham. It was just like we totally took the game away from them, and then we killed the game. Not just with the goals, but we killed all of their momentum. They chucked 2 wingers on to try and come at us. And it was like, no, we're just going to slow down. We're just going to, like, there was a moment where Sarr and Basuma were just like, do you want it? No, you can have it. Like putting your foot on the ball and slowing everything down. It was like, that was I think that was the most complete Ange performance yesterday, or performance of the Ange era, I think. For the way that we responded to adversity, again, conceded a shit goal, but the way we kind of showed the fight to come back from that after a slow first half, it was brilliant in the second half. But like you said, I think kind of come back to the original point, it was just about that intensity just went up a gear in everything that we did. Direct running, winning those battles, pressing, everything just went up. Lily White Lad did a tweet earlier. Pau Torres is one of the best on-the-ball centre-backs in the league, right? We made him look like Davinson Sanchez on the ball. Solanke was just there. Like, everything, the intensity just up massively. The crowd fed off of it. They couldn't live with it, and we battered them.
Yeah, showed really good character and leadership. That's what Postecoglou's been asking for. He asked it for after Crystal Palace, to show the sort of character to bounce back after that first half where it was soft, it was weak, we were getting bullied, and just absolutely dominate in every single scenario in the second half. Oh, so good. I don't know if it was the best performance under Ange, but I mean that second half, I can't think of any halves of football under that we've played in the last 2 years that was better than that. Don't forget Aston Villa, who Aston Villa are now, to score 4 goals in a half like that. So when was the last time we scored a free kick?
I know.
When was the last time?
I think it was 2019.
Because I was thinking, it was Harry Kane against Brentford, but no, because that was a drag back from Kulusevski, and then Kane whipped it, didn't he? 2019.
Ericsson,
it was so good, mate. I couldn't believe it. Really? Oh, against
Everton.
Everton, yeah. That was the last Premier League game before the Champions League final. So fucking ridiculous. But it was a brilliant free kick as well from Maddison. But yeah, I was just so pleased by the spirit we showed and the fight. And I want to talk about Richie, because I talked about the Son substitution. Richarlison on the left, we forgot to talk about it after the City game because he showed a lot of promise there.
Yeah, he did.
I still don't think it really worked necessarily, but that one moment, Richarlison, it getting in behind, cutting it back, unselfishly to Solanke, it was brilliant. But he fucking pulled his hamstring, Ben.
I know. He's got the durability of fucking. I don't know.
I don't mean to laugh at him, but he just because that I feel horrible, but like he is made of glass.
Yeah.
Like I love him to bits. But it's like I'll see. Did yourself proud. Like I salute you, Richie, but I'll see you again in like 6 months because he'll come in, have a cameo, do well, and then go injured. And it's like how many times we got? We actually have a few questions that segues into. Jack Inical said, given that Richie's body has clearly given up on him, meaning we'll have to replace him, how should we do it? Should we get an out-and-out 9 or somebody that can play 9 but is versatile like Cunha, Mamouche, etc.?
I think
is it Mamouche?
Yeah, Mamouche at Frankfurt, isn't it? He looks like a player, by the way.
Yeah, Frankfurt. He looks so good.
I do think good. Yeah, I think I probably think that is the right way to go, because especially if you've got someone like Will Lancashire as an out and out 9 as well, someone with that versatility that can play. Bear in mind as well, like a lot of our wingers are made of glass as well these days. Like obviously, Odebear's picked up a few injuries. Son, you have to manage obviously as well. And look, not replacing Son, we just signed a new contract, but not replacing him, but thinking ahead of replacing him in the future, and having someone that can kind of take minutes off of him to just manage his body. Because again, like we're kind of going back to the Son thing, when it's a bit like Salah. Like I feel like Seb made a video about this at the weekend. And it's so true. I thought about this last week. Like with someone like Mo Salah, like their brilliance is so normalized to the point where nobody really talks about it anymore. And Son is still at that level where he can produce just moments of quality, just like that. But you have to wrap him up in cotton wool as much as possible. So I think signing someone that can cover both of those positions, a bit like Richie can, I think would be probably the most valuable thing that we can. Well, it makes the most sense to do that. I think there's not a lot of players out there like that, but Acuna. Again, we talked about it before in terms of that next stage of the recruitment, in terms of physical profiles. Someone who could do a brilliant ball carry. The fact that we are the best counter-attacking team in the Premier League now. We really are. The stats show we scored more counter-attacking goals than anyone. I think we scored 7. The next is 4. We scored more goals than anybody else. As obviously coming through that way. Having those ball carriers, someone that's so versatile and someone who can just carry the ball like that. I think that kind of makes sense to do that rather than replace him just with a proper striker.
Because I said João Pedro, but actually, you're talking about injuries there. You touched on it. How many times is he injured for Brighton?
Yeah, he's brilliant. Available, is he?
But he is hardly, and you can just see him coming to Spurs, and everyone being like, "What a signing!" Then being like, "Where the fuck is he? Oh, he's injured again." Oh,
I was going to say, Cunha's. To be fair, Cunha's injury record isn't the best either, is it?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think so. But hypothetically, like they're both. I mean, they'd be both brilliant options. I think Pedro would probably be better, but
I see them more. I mean, they could play striker, but I think Mamouche would be a really good signing for the project when it comes to stuff. I mean, we've heard about how we want to limit wages and all this stuff. He'd come in. He's not going to expect loads of wages playing for Spurs, like a massive club. I think he'd hit the ground running and it just fit exactly how we want to play, especially a striker, and have that sort of fluidity that Solanke has, coming deep, holding the ball up. He's quite skillful, agile, quick, getting behind, pressing. He looks like he's that type. I would love him to be a striker, but there is an element of why we could be smart and sign someone that could probably play like the Kulusevski role and Solanke, which is ridiculous saying that because of how good they are and how good they are together. But there is a mold of players that, I mean, it's very rare, but that could play, that have the same attributes, maybe not to the same level. I'm not saying drop them but to come in and give the same attributes to Tottenham, like pressing, physicality, progressing with the ball, link up play. But I'm thinking they're going to be a very, very unique player. You'd have to spend a lot of money on them, but at least they can cover 2 positions, is what I mean. Because I'm not taking anything away from Kulusevski and Solanke. In fact, we're going to get onto Solanke in a minute. We've talked about Kulusevski till the cows come home. They're my 2 favourite players of Spurs right now.
Yeah.
But someone who we need a unique profile. Versatility is key, like Jack said, I think. And it's all about being smart. If you're going to spend big, spend on a player that can cover, can be a utility player and can cover as many positions as possible. Because then you limit the squad size, and you have someone that can just come in and be key for us wherever he plays. I feel like that's one of the reasons we signed Archie Gray. In 5 years, he's going to be one of those players. He can play anywhere across the pitch, and he'll be the best player on the pitch in 5 years, Archie Gray. So, there was other questions about injuries. I might as well get into them now.
Yeah.
Luke says, imagine worst case scenario. Luke Perry, 85. Imagine worst case scenario. Romero and Van der Ven are out for more than a month. Who replaces them aside from Dragusin? Wider question. How worried about you with the state of injuries in the squad?
I am quite worried because it's not even necessarily about the injuries that we've got now. I feel like I was not to be like, the only negative thing, obviously losing Romero is obviously a big loss. I thought Romero was good yesterday up until that injury as well.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
I think he was great against City, other than maybe the goal. I think he's starting to get back there again. I do think that with Romero. It's not even just about the injuries that we've got. I've got this hot. I was watching the game back earlier, and I thought this yesterday. When you think about the Solanke playing back-to-back 90 minutes against City and Villa, and Brennan Johnson as well, Brennan Johnson was out on his feet yesterday, and Solanke,
Yeah, he
the
was
work
shattered.
Solanke chasing around Martinez and Pau Torres in the 93rd minute to win us a free kick and win the ball back. Like, obviously, he's already got injured once this season for Spurs, which he only missed 2 games. But I've just got this horrible feeling that we are 1 game away from an injury to one of them as well. And look, people think what they think about Brennan Johnson, despite the fact that he's, obviously he went a bit quiet again after that run. That he did go on. Obviously, back on the score sheet yesterday. It was such a typical Johnson goal. I think I saw a stat that was like, no player has created more XG, or no winger, I think, has created more XG or entered the box more times than Johnson this season. Mate, it was something like that in Europe's top 5 leagues. So it's such a him goal. Despite being out of the game on the periphery for a little bit, it can still kind of really affect it in those moments. I thought he worked really hard in that second half, coming back the other way as well. But I was looking at him at the end of the game, and it's like, he was fucked. Like, he was absolutely, he was literally just like, we were trying to press, and he was like on his arse. Like,
he was, yeah.
Benton
he actually got back at one point, and it was actually quite good of him because I was thinking the same.
Yeah.
And then he actually got tracked back, and you can see giving it his all.
Yeah, and Solanke never looks like he breaks sweat, but again, after the City game the other night, I was like, he looks on his arse as well. And obviously, to get through the 90 minutes like he did yesterday was, I mean, we'll talk about him in a bit, but like he, phenomenal. And then Bentancur went off injured as well. I don't know if he went off injured, but like just before he went off, he was like crouching down, just trying to stretch out his groin, and Porro the same as well. Just like, I feel like we're 1 game away from just all like I don't want to say, I really don't want to be this negative. It's not even negative about the team. It's just sometimes you can't help these things. But obviously, naturally, where we're so intense, I do worry. Solanke will be such a big miss for us. Johnson will be a massive miss for us as well, because not just because we haven't really got the cover in the wide areas at the moment with other players being out, but he plays that role to perfection a lot of the time. So yeah, I am worried. The thing is, we know Van der Ven's sort of timeline, so at least we know that. We know. Yeah. I know Romero looked really angry. Romero could be out for months. Who fucking knows? I don't really. Did it? I haven't watched. I didn't watch that bit back. Did it look like the impact from the tackle?
Yeah, and I think he looked like he was just holding his toe, like big toe, or like, is it your fibula or something?
Yeah, because I saw him when he went off. He launched the boot, didn't he? He looked very angry.
Yeah. I think he's. My fear. Hopefully, it's just a knock. My fear is he's fractured something in his foot.
Yeah, that'd be fucking.
Or done something just from the impact. It was a heavy challenge.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I'm a bit fearful there. But hopefully, it's just like a bruise.
Yeah. Also, hopefully, it's like, hopefully, if Van der Ven can get back for the City game, hopefully, if Romero's out, hopefully we can go there with Van der Ven and Dragusin. I mean, Davis was fucking brilliant yesterday, and
let's talk about Daddy Davis.
Davis. I am worried. I am worried. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I am as well, because I do think this January, this is the chance to go out. You know how Liverpool signed Van Dijk that January. They spent big on Van Dijk. I'm not saying we're going to do that 80 mil. I'm not saying that, but go out there and sign a player who will elevate your team, be that game changer, but also you're actually in need of them because of fatigue, because you need that player that comes in and completely elevate and changes that mood, that be that catalyst, energetic, everything.
Yeah,
I'm talking in Bowman. 6 months left of his contract, cheeky 50 mil bid.
Yeah,
completely drags us through that really tough period in the season, I think. Or someone like a Semenyo, someone who's got so much energy, who can change a game just like that, and comes. We need that type of signing in January. I think. I can't see. I think we're at risk of capitulating through fatigue and wearing out and injuries if we only make maybe like a backup goalie and sign a do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
If we're not aggressive in the transfer market, I feel like we really risk like capitulation a little bit. And I'm not, again, this is such a positive period for Spurs. I'm not being negative. I'm being realistic, I think.
Yeah, agreed.
Because you were saying we've got a group of players that will do everything, fight and give their lives pretty much for Postecoglou right now in this project.
Yeah.
But how sustainable is that when they're giving it all? We got the highest running stats, pressing stats, everything. You need backup, and you need someone that's going to elevate. And I think that right mid, when Johnson starts fatiguing a little bit, because I'm not saying drop Johnson because he's been brilliant, but someone to come in and be that game changer.
exactly.
management.
And it's really hard to manage Solanke, especially as well with the fact that fucking Richarlison is.
Yeah, exactly.
David
Yeah,
Glass
or a
was
Mamouche or someone like that, someone that can play across the front line and give that little bit of leeway.
Yeah.
Because Richarlison's just not. He's not reliable.
Yeah.
But I think
mean,
I think we need to show that ambition. This is
I
our
agree.
chance to show that ambition and kick on, because we're going to talk about it in a moment, but we could, if results go our way next weekend, we could go into the international break third.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Think
And then
about
you have to
last week.
capitalize. Yeah, exactly. And then you have to kind of capitalize on top of that. It's like with Solanke as well. Like, not only can you see it, you can see how hard he works. But I saw a stat this morning that was just like bonkers. He leads the Premier League charts for most pressures in the final third. Well, it's 240, but he obviously tops it. He tops it by 65. Like he's clear of the next player by 60.
That's
like he's
mental.
And again, he's missed 3 games. He missed three games or 2 games?
Of course.
I think it was 2. No, he missed 3. No, 2 games. He missed 2 league games.
Yeah,
and he still leads it. And Newcastle, and he still leads it by 65 pressures. That is absolutely bonkers. So like you said, I think January has to be put your foot down and don't, because especially we didn't have European football last year earlier, and our players then started to kind of burn out a little bit there.
Yeah, exactly.
And where we're a bit more transitional this season, we're even more intense than maybe we were last year.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
And getting ahead of the competition, because I can't see Liverpool going out and buying someone like Bowman now, but I can see them getting him on a free in the summer. Like, he is out contracting it.
I think so.
Is he?
Even that, he's got one more
year. Yeah. So, I mean, that's when he'll probably go, because they can make a profit. Get in there early, and also we're gaining momentum. This is where we kick on, get into gain a gear and kick on ahead of our competition, because competitions is so competitive. You see in this Premier League season, especially how competitive it is in the league. We need that reinforcement, but unbelievable from everyone. We're only saying this because we gave it our all, and you can see the wear and tear it was having on our players coming off. But Billy Price, he says, with Romero and Van der Ven struggling with injuries recently, do you think Dragusin and Davis can be competent cover for the near future? Bit part roles I'm okay with, but if they're starters for the next 2 to 3 games, I have my doubts. I'm with Billy there, but I want to actually talk about Davis and Dragusin, because it's going to be Davis's last year. I'm pretty sure everyone knows that.
Probably, yeah.
Probably, yeah, highly like 90%.
Well, yeah, definitely, sure. Yeah, I think,
yeah. Dragusin, I've been a bit critical of Dragusin, not critical, but just a little bit doubtful.
Yeah,
he's exactly that performance against City and against Aston Villa was exactly what you want from your third choice centre back. Exactly, and bearing his age and everything. Exactly, and I think he's a victim of how good Van der Ven and Romero are.
Yeah, definitely.
Basically, because he's a brilliant centre back. He's just nowhere near their level at the moment. But Davis stepping in, and he had a crucial role in the build up to the second goal, winning it, being aggressive, leading by example. But he's just the calmness and the composure he showed.
Yeah,
really, it completely nullified or resolved every bit of doubt and anxiety that was that was creeping into my body when Romero went off. I was like, oh, fucking hell, Davis has got this, and he's thriving.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think they definitely benefited of playing a half hour together against City.
In a sort of similar, or not, I mean, it wasn't that similar necessarily, but the fact that we knew against a side that good that we were going to be under pressure for moments. And look, I said, in terms of that game management, there was, leading up to the kind of the added time, Villa kind of did have us pinned back a little bit, but we looked comfortable in our shape because we'd gone through that on Wednesday, and it was like, no, with the same players on the pitch. Gray obviously was on the pitch as well, playing at left back. Davis and Dragusin. That Ben Davis is just, well, kind of to Billy's question, obviously, as well, or Billy's point, like, we went to the Etihad last year and got a point with Emerson and Davis at centre back. You know, we've got City away soon. But Ben Davis deserves so much credit. Dragusin, again, I was with you. Like, on the ball, worries me a little bit. Again, yesterday, though, with Romero next to him, again, Dragusin can kind of just be afforded to be like, just clip it into Solanke, just kind of get it down the line or whatever, just play a little bit more like a traditional centre-back would. Doesn't have to be so flashy, whereas Romero is so, Romero plays a lot of risky passes, but the percentage of which they come off is crazy, really. And we obviously kind of always make that joke about when you see the progressive stats about the dribbling and the passing, that he's just like at the top of the graph, just like there every game.
Yeah.
So it kind of just allows Dragusin to play a little bit more simple. But box defending backs to the wall. Both of them. Dragusin especially because he's got that physicality and that aerial presence. And he did so well yesterday. There was a moment where we did learn. We learned on the corners in the second half. Dragusin just got himself in between, I think, Vicario and the strike. And then he goes down and gives a free kick. And it's like, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So, he just loves defending. Ben Davis as well. Like, obviously, you mentioned it, the second goal. There was a moment, and I was talking about this in my match breakdown earlier. In the 93rd minute, we had this period of possession where we just totally took the sting out of absolutely everything. And like I said it earlier, where Basuma and Sarr were just, you want it? No, you can have it. You want it. Putting your foot on the ball, drawing them in, playing it around them, going back to the goalkeeper, working
the Olays as well with the crowd.
Yeah. And then it ends up with us Solanke winning the ball back once we give it away and we win a free kick and it all just settles down. All starts from us in our shape, solid defensively, kind of 2 banks of 4. I think it's Kamara tries to play a ball into the feet of Duran, and Davis is just there, right in behind Duran, fuck off, and then wins the ball and plays out. It was like the way he dealt with Romero got done once in the channel by Watkins, and Watkins, look, what striker in the Premier League or in Europe would you rather have run the channels for you than Ollie Watkins? Probably no one. Like he's the perfect striker for what Emery wants to do. And he got done once, but I thought he dealt with Watkins for the most part pretty well. But the way that Davis and Dragusin especially dealt with Duran, I was just like, they were.
Yeah, I was worried when he came on, and it was
did nothing.
I really wasn't worried after 5 minutes. Yeah,
no,
and there was a moment as well where Watkins stood on the left flank, stood Dragusin in up in transition, went to get it past him. Dragusin he's so strong, and it's his core strength to just hold him off and get his body in the way without making a foul, and then we just recycled the ball and went again. And it was like, he's an ultimate defender. He loves defending. Okay, we have like our worries on the ball, etc. But he is like an ultimate defender, a throwback defender.
Yeah, and we should say as well, like our worries were definitely isolated to being on the ball. I think they always have worried, but it's not like
I still think it's valid.
I don't think I've ever. Yeah, of course it is. And I don't think I've ever really criticised it. I do obviously now. The anxiety kind of creeps back in a little bit. The fact that Romero's out of the team, and then there's probably more onus on Dragusin to play.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and you kind of just got to deal with it. But he also the thing about him playing on the ball, that confidence to do that comes with game time as well. That comes with consistent game time. And he's not had that, has he? Really, to be fair.
Yeah.
And look, obviously we've been frustrated about his agent and all that kind of stuff, but this is a guy that is more than good enough to be playing. So if he is frustrated, you can kind of understand why, but you've also got to accept that it's a squad game, and with the intensity we play at, and Mickey van der Ven's little, hamstrings, bless him, he's going to get opportunities, and it's about how you present yourself when you do get them. And so far, 2 games out of 2, he's been for the most part pretty excellent. So.
Yeah. Can I caveat that? Yeah, because we think about Pedro Porro when he first signed for Tottenham.
Yeah,
he played every single game, and he was shit at the beginning. Yeah, and Dragusin hasn't had the privilege that Porro had to adjust and to fight through that period, because the handful of times we've seen Dragusin start. It's because Van der Ven or Romero's out. So he's had to adjust and adapt to the Premier League as a young defender, the fastest, most physical league in the world, as a young defender in staggered games, in a period over staggered games.
Yeah.
How difficult is that as a defender when you're up against the fastest, most technical strikers in the world football?
And you've got no rhythm.
And you've got no rhythm, and you're playing, again, we've said so many times, you're playing in one of the most vulnerable defenses ever, because of the way we set up in defense, in transition, etc. And he's coming to his own now, and you can see his confidence is building in his performances. He just loves defending, and he'll get counted out. He'll get found out a few times. So's Romero. Van der Ven. Thinking of against like Newcastle, it happens because we're playing in such a vulnerable system. But I've been really, really impressed with him, and I mean, I'm thinking that his debut where he started against Fulham, and we got done 3-0.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh fucking hell, Dragusin, we've been begging for him to come to us. Again, it just shows how. I mean, that's like it mimics Porro's debut against Leicester when Barnes and Maddison absolutely tore him a new arsehole. Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens because the young players adapting to one of the best leagues in the world. And yeah, I was really, really pleased with what I saw of Dragusin. But for Billy's question, to sort of answer that, come back to that, I'm worried because it depends. We don't know how long Romero's out for, and Van der Ven hopefully will come back after the international break. Of course, there's going to be there's worries creeping in, but we got Ipswich next week. They are good enough to, and especially because they played with each other recently as well, to understand each other's games. That I think we're good enough to sort of to sort of beat Ipswich and to come out better in that game. But where Sarr and Bentancur are playing and how good they are in transition, you can make the pitch bigger and leave more gaps in midfield so we don't play as high of a line, because obviously you're missing that recovery pace. But what can happen, so obviously you'd make the pitch as small as possible, as tight as possible. You need the technical players like Maddison, Kulusevski, because they can thrive in those areas, Bissouma. But what Bentancur and Sarr add, which will benefit Dragusin and Davis, is that Davis and Dragusin can sit back a little bit more, just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Sarr and Bentancur mop up everything in the midfield because they just gallop up and down.
Yeah.
They're like, both of them are like gazelles. They're like octopuses in the fact they can just slide, tackle, or wrap their legs around and win maybe either foul and disrupt a counter attack, or win the ball back in transition. And that gives a little bit of leeway for Dragusin and Davis, who haven't got the same recovery pace as Romero and Van der Ven. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. It doesn't put as much pressure on them, does it? You've got,
no, exactly. But also in January, I do expect us to sign a left centre back. So I feel like our worries will be sort of dealt with and handled in the future. We just have to deal with this little period. But so good. Who are your standout players then, mate? Because mine were obviously Sarr and Solanke. I want to talk about Sarr and Solanke basically, and how good they were, because take it away, mate.
No, I agree. I agree with you. They were the two best players on the pitch for me. Kulusevski had a bit more of a quiet first half when the game was a bit more compact, but when it opened up, he again massively came into his own and showed those qualities in tight spaces and his ability to get forward on transition as well. I don't think anybody had a bad game. I thought Porro struggled actually a little bit. I wasn't massively impressed with Porro yesterday, but again, it is what it is. It wouldn't have a bad game. But in terms of positives, Bentancur as well. I said it earlier. Like, I think his performance kind of went under the radar because of how good Sarr was.
So good.
But Sarr was that was how close you get to a 10 out of 10 midfield performance from that. He showed that he could do absolutely everything. And like I said, when you kind of come back to the conversation we was having earlier, or like before the game as well, about how that midfield should set up. How do you go with Maddison and Bissouma in there? Do you go with Sarr and Bentancur in there? There was kind of pros and cons to both sides. Maddison is able to, when the game becomes a little bit more open, just feed those balls through quickly. Obviously, there's not much creativity in that midfield, Bentancur and Sarr, although they have shown that they can do that. But Maddison is obviously on another level. But like we said earlier, it became pretty apparent 15, 20 minutes in that was the right call. Sarr, he did not play like a 21-year-old boy.
No way.
Yeah. He's got a lot of experience under his belt. He's played 2 full seasons in the Premier League, or one and a bit full seasons in the Premier League now. That was a man yesterday in that midfield. It was a general. It was just, he did absolutely everything. He mopped everything up. Was so physical. He just did not stop. And again, we kind of spoke about it a few weeks ago about how much of a cheat code he is, in the sense that where he's not starting every game, he's kind of starting the games in Europe, so he's keeping himself match fit and fresh.
Yeah.
Not necessarily starting in the Premier League, coming on in games affecting the game. Came off at halftime against Man City the other week. Not many players would have been able to do what he did for 90 minutes in the Premier League yesterday. And he looked, again, a bit like Johnson and Solanke, he looked out on his haunches by the end of it. When Maddison scored the free kick, like, everybody ran over and everyone was in this kind of group huddle by the touchline. Sarr was just like, "Oh no, I'm not. I don't know.
Fuck that. That's
not But yeah, he was incredible yesterday. Absolutely incredible. And again, like him and Bissouma, the way that they managed that game in midfield, just completely shut everything down, just completely slowed the game down from sort of for added time. He was fantastic. And Dom Solanke, I don't really have anything else to say that much on Solanke because it's what have we been saying? You know, this is just like, well, there you go. Oh, do you want him to score a couple of goals? Did you? Well, there you go. There you go.
The goals are going to come. Yeah.
What a
It's
finish!
not like he's going to. Oh my god, it was so good. I didn't celebrate the
Neither.
second
I
goal
thought it was
because
off.
I thought it was offside, and
Yeah.
again, it's like that's one of the goals where it's like such a shame VAR is a thing. But oh my god, I fucking knee slid across my kitchen when the goal was given because I was like, that was unbelievable play from Davis winning the back, Sarr, Johnson, Kulusevski. That pass was ridiculous. Took everyone out of the game, and then first time knew exactly what Martinez was going to do. That shows how good of a striker in that. And actually, he hasn't scored many goals. I mean, he has, but he hasn't. It's not like prolific and one where the mainstream media is going to sort of catch on to it. But
I don't know about that. I felt like this kind of
a finish that. But that was a finish that proves he is full of confidence at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. Well, what I was going to say was I don't necessarily agree about the media criticism because I think I think the knives have been out weirdly since the start of the season about Solanke, like in certain sections of the media, and certain people kind of nipping and having their say. But what you kind of said there was the point I was going to make as well. It's not just a guy who hasn't scored in a few weeks. This is a guy who hasn't had a shot on target in 6 games, and he still he still had the confidence to just shows his composure and self-belief. Just be like, no, look, it was obviously a fairly look, one-on-ones are not easy, but that's a proper chance. But the fact that he was like, nah, sit down, all the best, think it over you.
Best goal in the world apparently as well.
Yeah. To be fair, I've said that multiple times, I think. But mate, the best thing about this goal was the fact I was with you. I thought it was offside. I didn't celebrate because where I sit in the ground, like when we're kicking towards the south stand, it's quite a similar angle to the TV angle. So you would have thought the same thing, and especially where like it's one of those ones where you're flooding forward, they push up, and it's like the sort of like it's going like that, isn't it? It's like and someone runs in behind. Those ones you always think, I didn't really get excited at all. And the fact that Martinez picked the ball up and put it down to take the free kick, and they all set back in their shape, and then the referee just goes, goal. It was like
I didn't see that.
It was amazing. Martinez literally just grabbed the ball, took the ball off the referee, rolled it down to take the free kick. Villa sort of got in their shape, and Spurs were like, hang on. Hang on. And the referee's just like, hold on a minute. And just goal. And it was like,
brilliant. I didn't know that.
You wasted all that time as well. And then they wasted all that time and broke the game up and went down rolling around for 10 minutes to be added on where we scored another goal. So that was good, wasn't it?
Dickheads, mate.
But I mean, Solanke, look, he couldn't really get in the game in the first half. Where the fact they were sat so deep, he was having to come quite deep to receive it and try and play. He wasn't playing badly. Again, his pressing was good, but he couldn't get in the game. But second half, the guy is just. That's what I said. I don't have much else to say on Solanke because I feel like I've exhausted all my praise over the last few weeks to try and. Not like I've been trying to defend him because I don't think there's been anything really to defend other than the criticism that's come his way from other fans, other fan bases and small portions of our fan base. But this is just nice to just sit back and just go, see? I don't really have anything to tell you. Yeah. He's so physically into mate. He's a brilliant footballer. And good. Danny Murphy said it on Match of Day 2 last night, and he's kind of right, but also wrong. Not wrong, but wrong in the sense of the fact that he was saying that was a performance which will make the Spurs fans like fall in love with him, and obviously everyone's singing his name at the end, or when he scored the second goal, and the fact that he got a couple of goals in a big game like that. Of course, I get his point because he's not a Spurs fan. He doesn't feel that, but no one's been on his back. Not Spurs fans have been on his back. It's just like again, it's just that rubber stamping of the quality that he's got. That was yesterday. It was he was immense. It was just
the link up between Kulusevski and Solanke as well. Is that our new Kane Son link up for the future? Maybe. Because obviously I don't think they're ever going to reach the heights that they did, but that of those two just in tangent together, just unstoppable. They're both physical specimens, so technical, so agile, and their link up and their cohesion is on point every single game, and it's actually our most consistent aspect of an area of the pitch is them two. You know that they're going to link up well every single game. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But I kept saying, I saw this thing. It's like, fucking stop comparing. So this is like before yesterday.
Yeah.
But and this is why it was like he did need a game like that where on Super Sunday, in a big game to score 2 and dominate a really tough Villa defense,
Yeah.
a really well structured defense. Because the amount of stop comparing him to Kane. Yeah, because huh?
I mean, I did that.
No, but I just think you know what I feel like is in Spurs terms, comparing Solanke to Harry Kane is like Barcelona fans being like, oh yeah, Rafinha, he's a great player, yeah, brilliant, he's in great form, and then they'd be like, well, he's not Messi, is he?
Yeah.
It's like, Harry Kane's our best ever football player ever for Tottenham. Solanke is perfect for this system. He's brilliant, and I'm obsessed with him. He's fucking sexy as well.
Yeah,
I'll say that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like everything about him is just perfect, and he epitomizes the way Ange Postecoglou wants to play football, and you know how much Ange Postecoglou loves him. He speaks volumes about in press conferences, in post-match interviews, pre-match interviews, his confidence that he installs in Solanke and that Solanke gives him as a manager. He is perfect, and he's going to spearhead us towards success under Ange Postecoglou. I'm sure of it. And I do get frustrated, and I think that's the only bit of doubt Spurs fans have had. It's like he's replacing Kane, whatever. Like he's not scoring enough goals. It's enough. It's not. We need to move away from that as fast as possible and just know exactly what he gives us. And he will score loads of goals along the way because that's the way we play, and we play positive attacking football, giving him chance after chance. And he did have a lot of chances yesterday. How many chances did he have? Did he have 5 shots on goal? Scored 2, but he will take. If you give him 5, he's a type of striker. If you give him 5, he'll score 2, and that's enough.
Yeah, and also
like we play.
The other chances that he had weren't exactly like clear cut, were they? Really, like he
No,
had 5
that's true.
shots, they weren't really like. He got the one we got slipped in towards the end of the first half. It wasn't necessarily like clear cut, but he had the shot blocked. He came inside, he did everything right, and obviously he had that chance at the start of the second half as well, where the game opened up a lot. Martinez made a good save. Maybe if he hit it a little bit harder, he would have had been in trouble or right in the corner. But again, couldn't have really done that much more. And then it all sort of happened for him. I think with the Kane thing, the reason that I compared him to Harry Kane was because I think there are parts of their game that are quite similar. And I said it after the Carabao game. I obviously went quite early on that, and then he kind of scored against United and then didn't score for a few games. But it was more about his overall play, but also the fact that I look at him up front, like I don't have any. The reason that I think that we've replaced Harry Kane, and you can't replace Harry Kane in terms of his legacy and all that shit. I've said that so many times. Of course, and he's literally the best player we probably ever produced or ever had. But I look at that team sheet and think, no, Solanke. I don't have any I don't have any doubt. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it will never reach the same unless he scores 30 goals. It will never reach the same level of inevitability with Harry Kane. Of course not. You can't do that. But when the team comes out at 1 o'clock or whatever, I'm just like, Son, Solanke, Johnson. Don't have any doubt about him whatsoever. Yeah. I just think he's there. He's our striker. He's great. If he has a poor game, I don't care. He hasn't had one yet, in my opinion, really. And I don't have any doubt about him. And I think that's probably the biggest compliment. And you can give him 2 great goals yesterday. Again, the second goal that he scored, that's just the reward of being in the right position and the fact that we can turn teams over. And he was in the box and he tapped it in. He probably could. Let's be honest. He probably should have more goals than he does. Not because he's been missing chances, but there have been counter-attacks where like Johnson's had a shot and it's been saved and the rebound's not quite fell to him. He should have scored that 1-on-1 away at Old Trafford, but he already got a goal in that game and it didn't really cost us. There have been things that haven't quite fallen his way. There's another world in which Solanke's on 7 or 8 Prem goals. There is another world in which that... And not because he's played better, just because things haven't quite fallen to him. But he's, honestly... I tweeted out the other day, we've not really got big signings right in terms of the money, right? We haven't really like
No.
Richarlison and Dombele, like big money.
Famous for our wastes. Yeah.
He's the first ever big signing that we've made that I've just gone, yeah, cool. Like,
yeah.
Like,
there was a lot of doubt. There was a lot of doubt that he would live up to it from his point of view, from his confidence, because he didn't make it at Chelsea, make it at
There
Liverpool.
was so much lazy shit around that. Like,
yeah,
when I did the overlap, it was like when they were talking about the fact they'd been at Chelsea and Liverpool and never really made it. It was like, that's a
How
reach.
old was he?
That is a reach. And also, like at Liverpool, we had Firmino in front of him and wasn't really going to get any game times. Chelsea left when he was like 18, 19. Like, come on. Like,
it's not really like he didn't make it at Chelsea. He's fucking a child. Yeah.
He's a 26, I think he might be 27 now, but 26, 27-year-old man that was clearly ready to take that next step up at Bournemouth. If you couldn't see that last season, that he was ready to make that big move and be the number 9 at another club, I was so pleased for him yesterday because, like I said, we've been banging the drum all the season. I think me and you have felt similar about the fact that I think he's just been really good and the goals will come. But sometimes it is nice to just go, fuck off. You know, not bad for a big lump.
Exactly.
A big lump.
Exactly. I can't imagine a big lump fucking dinking it over Emi Martinez. Just
certainly not a useless big lump.
His movement is so clever and so sharp. He's so far ahead of most players on the pitch when it comes to his movement and his mobility.
Yeah.
And this like Kane thing, I just think it's a new era. We don't need Harry Kane, Son pulling us through games and all our goals come from there because everyone chips in now. We're a much more systematic team, but Solanke spearheads this system and leads the line in the press, leads the line with leading by example, putting himself about, link up play, and he is going to be pivotal in our success under Ange Postecoglou. And this is his first big signing, Postecoglou. And the fact that he has hit the ground running, just it fills me with so much more confident that when we do take a risk in the transfer market under Ange Postecoglou, which we probably will do again, it will pay off because Ange knows exactly what he wants from a striker, and Solanke epitomises exactly what he wants from a striker.
100%.
The relentlessness, the link-up play, the he's streetwise. He's clever with his movement.
The free kick,
wins the ball back.
The foul that he won for the free kick for Maddison, that was a Kane foul, wasn't it? That was just like. Into feet, get my body across. I'm just going to go down. It's just like I'm a huge fan of him. And again, like you just said there, Maddison was obviously our big signing last summer, but Maddison we probably would have signed regardless of whoever the manager was. Do you know what I mean? It felt like a tap in. Whereas, like you said, Solanke was Ange's man, Ange's number 1 target, and he came out after the game yesterday and was just like, I literally couldn't give him any more praise. Like, he was kind of just like almost like, what do you want me to say? Like, you know. He was just like, I can't speak highly enough of him, and that kind of level of praise for someone who's not been scoring a load of goals is you know But Ange didn't say anything different to what he said yesterday. It's just like he's obviously got his reward now, and it's like I've not had any doubt. I've not wavered on Solanke once ever since the first game against Leicester. I was like, let's go, let's see more. Like
you saw it, you saw the minerals there straight away.
He's such a good footballer.
You saw it.
Yeah, I love him. But. An injury and let's not think about that. But I think he's going to have another performance soon, and it could be. I'm not going to say it. At the Etihad, if he puts in again, that Kane performance a few years ago was obviously on another level, and Kane is world class footballer, and I'm not sure Solanke is world class. I think he's got attributes of his game that are probably world class. Like I don't think any striker in Europe works harder than that guy. And people think that that's just like but you're supposed to work hard. It's like. Go back to that stat that I said earlier. He's got 65 more pressures in the final third than any other player in Europe, and he's missed 2 league games. Like that stuff. That is the stuff that people don't really that won't really see unless they watch us every week. And also that sort of stuff gets taken for granted so much of just but you're supposed to work hard. You're supposed to run. You're supposed to. I'm sorry. Pressing and working hard are not the same thing. Like pressing is so. He's made our I did a podcast yesterday with a Liverpool fan. Yeah, it is an art. I did a podcast yesterday with a Liverpool fan, and he was saying about one thing in the slot thing that's not quite clicking yet is their press. And I was like, speaking from a Postecoglou Spurs standpoint, our pressing has got so much better in the second season where it's just this is a lot more refined. We've got someone who is spearheading that as someone who knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing in Solanke. That is, if it leads you to scoring the most amount of goals in the Premier League, the most amount of goals from those kind of counter-attacks, we turn the ball over more than anybody else as well. If that leads to more goals for the team and gets you high up the table and wins you a trophy, how's that not a world-class attribute? Do you know what I mean? It's not just like, yeah, well, I expect him to work hard. That's not the same thing. That press and working hard are not the same thing. You have to work hard to press. They go hand in hand, but it's a skill. That is a skill. That is an attribute that should be looked at when trying to sign a player. It's so important. And I'm in love with the geezer. I think he's absolutely quality. And we've got a gem.
65 presses in one game. Mate, if I did 65 presses in a Premier League match with that intensity sprinting, I would have a fucking aneurysm. I would capitulate. I don't know what would I would get hernia after hernia, and my body would just absolutely just give up. That is ridiculous if you think about it. If you actually think about 65 presses in a Premier League game, and he just reaped the rewards with the goals, because when you work that hard, when you play that well, the goals will come, and he's thriving at the moment. But yeah, I want to kind of go back to we've replaced Kane, but we can't compare him to Kane. And I feel like that's going to hold him back, where people were like, oh, well, he was the one that came in after Kane, and they'll look at his goals. But it's not. That's irrelevant. It's actually irrelevant. I know he's a striker, but you just see what he adds, and he adds so much, mate. He's got a plethora of talent, mate. He's so good, and I love him. I do want to go back to Sarr, actually, because we touched on him briefly, but I want to ask you this question. Apart from Kulusevski and maybe Solanke, what we're saying, is anyone actually having a better season for us than Sarr? Because I know that's a bit crazy, because if you think off the top of your head, he hasn't really started that many games or whatever. But when he's come on, he's been probably our best player, and the goal contributions he's added to his game, all this stuff, he's refined. His game's becoming more and more refined. You can see the progression there in his development. But actually, when it comes to performances, he's been so consistent, and he's becoming almost as important as the Kulusevskis, the Solankes. And I know we always talk about, let's not get into the midfield talk, because it's all about profiles and what's right for the games, etc. But what Sarr's added to his game with his passing, and his passing become more refined, his technicality, but the aggression, the physicality, and the legs he adds in the midfield, he almost is becoming undroppable.
Yeah, it's really hard, because I think we said it on when we did a pod on Friday, I think it was, when it was like, me and Flav were saying it on the Fighting Cock as well. It's like, do we have to have this conversation every time we play a game about like what's our best midfield, or do we just celebrate the fact that we've got so many great options that can kind of come in and rotate and for different game states? But that said, when you look at Sarr, it's like, how do you drop him? How do you then take him back out? You know, it's such a hard one. The guy is just incredible, isn't he? Like he's an absolute freak athlete. He's just a general, and he just looks so calm under pressure. He never gets the ball. I've always worried about him maybe playing as that 6, because, and he obviously didn't do that yesterday, but just generally in terms of the fact that sometimes I worry a bit about him on the ball, maybe in those tight situations, but he just gets out of them most of the time as well, doesn't he? He's got that ability to sort of just like win the ball back without giving a foul away a lot of the time as well. Like you kind of saying with Bentancur as well, about that ability to just nip in and win it back, and use his long legs to kind of wrap around the defender and just nick it and go. If he has to make fouls, he has to break up the play. Like Rodgers got away once in that first half, and he just like, and again, I don't even think that was a fucking foul. The amount of fouls that they bought in that first half and rolled around. There was one on Onana that Bentancur did that was such a clean tackle, and he saw him rolling around on the floor and gave it about 5 minutes later. It was just like, fuck right off. No, but Sarr, he's an absolute. The boy's a gem. He's an absolute gem. Such a lovable kind of character as well. Just gets on with it. Just like, yeah, brilliant. And he, honestly, I don't think, like, what clubs wouldn't he play for? Like, I know it sounds crazy, but like he would make any team above Spurs in the league better. And he might not even start for us every week, you know?
Yeah, I know. But what's mental is I actually think he was quite a forgettable player over the summer. Like, I think a lot of people just downplayed him a little bit.
Yeah.
And what he's shown is that we've got such a fucking specimen in our squad that is 21 years old. Is he 21?
I think so.
And think about him in 10 years, he'll probably be at his best, maybe like 30 odd, where he's experienced and he'll the knowledge he'll pick up in that time. He's going to be I was going to say generational. I feel like that's been a little bit like getting ahead, but he is going to be one for the decades. You know how we talk about Dembele, etc.
100%.
I don't think he's nothing like Dembele in the way that he plays, but you know how we go back like, oh, Dembele, what a player! What a player he was! Like one of the best players, midfielders to play for our team. But he's easily forgettable. I feel like Sarr's going to be that for us in 15, 20 years.
My old man said it. I remember. Do you remember? Was it the Palace game a couple of seasons ago on the Conte where he sort of first came on and we haven't really seen much of him before, and it was like we were still waiting to sort of see him play. And then obviously the Milan game in the Champions League, he was just like, if this guy, and he said it again yesterday, he was just like, from the first game I watched him, I was like, and obviously it's an Arsenal player as a comparison, but he was like, if he really sort of like gets, you never doubted the fact that he's going to knuckle down because he's got such a great character, but like if he progresses it the way you think he can, that's like a Vieira kind of player there. Like generally, like he, like in terms of that box to box ability as well that he's got. How many? He scored 3 goals for us this season as well, outside the box from arriving late in the box as well. He's just the guy. He's absolutely brilliant, and I think we should just enjoy the fact that we've got this ability to mix games up and use these different. Like the fact that James Maddison is potentially a bench player for Tottenham is, you know, that's the depth we've all wanted. And Maddison, look, when we play Ipswich next weekend, I'd probably expect Maddison to start. I'd imagine it will go with Sarr. Because again, I know Sarr's young, but Galatasaray on Thursday, we've got players that we really need to manage and be careful with in terms of their fitness. You probably put Sarr in there, don't you? Because he's got the legs and he's got that physicality and he's got that experience. And then go, all right, we'll use Maddison on Sunday against.
That'll be a hostile game as well, Galatasaray.
Yeah. Maddison probably will actually play thinking about it, but I think Sarr is well equipped to deal with that kind of game. I think.
Yeah, that pressure, he just mops everything up, and he relieves so much anxiety when we're transitioning in defence, and you just see him galloping back, and same with Bentancur, and you're just like, he's gonna make a tactical foul, or he's gonna come out with a ball after a clean tackle, or just sweep his legs round and win the ball back, and it's like. He's a cheat code. That was your thumbnail over today.
Yeah.
Cheat code. So, and that's what he is for us. So we get to actually watch this young player develop week in, week out, and I cannot wait to see the player he sort of develops into, because he's going to be an absolute monster.
He already is. If this is him as a baby, I know he's not a baby, he's not 18, you know what I mean? But if it like in the formative stages of his career, this is his second season playing most Premier League games. Most games for Spurs. Obviously, wasn't really used anywhere near as much under Conte as he should have been. But again, he was 19 years old then. If this is him now, then bloody hell. You know, bloody hell.
I know. I can't wait. We'll finish on this, mate. You said this to me earlier.
Yeah.
We're 3 points better off when it came to these exact same fixtures last season. Now we're 3 points better off than we were last season.
Yeah.
Progression there.
Yeah.
If wins go away next weekend, we're third in the league.
Yeah.
Is it actually like Ange Postecoglou's beaten Unai Emery and Pep Guardiola in 1 week? And actually, this is coming after a summer where I'd say the majority of the fan base would say he wasn't back to the full expectation.
Yeah.
Are we actually performing to what we were expecting in the summer, given how the Premier League's actually gone this season as well, with everyone dropping points?
Well, I'll ask you the question: if we end up if we beat Ipswich next weekend and the results go away, and we do end up third, would you say that we've deserved that based on the performances? Do you feel like that
massively, mate?
Yeah,
massively. That's where the frustration creeps in, is because we don't deserve it. And all the hard work we do is undone with just minor details or a little bit of luck in the going the other end. Because if you look at our XG, we're conceding it. Overall, it's good, and compared to the competition, it's a lot better than the majority of the teams in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So 100% we deserve that.
I agree. And also, I agree, and I think it kind of be justification for the stuff that we've been saying a lot of the time. Look, we're going to have another Palace game. We are like that will happen, and you kind of just have to accept that now. But we're also going to have another City game. We're also going to have another Villa game. We're going to have more of them than we're going to have Palace games, I think. Obviously, who knows? Everyone could get injured on Thursday, and we don't have a team to put out on Sunday. Who knows? You can't predict the future in football, right? But coming back to what you said about like so we're 3 points better off in these exact same correlating fixtures, not the fixtures, not compared to how many games have we played now? 10. Is it 10 or 11?
10, 11.
10 games. So it's 10 games, right? It's not that compared to the last, because we're I think we're like 7 points or something worse off than we were at this point last season. But compared to Villa at home last year and Arsenal at home and that shit, we've got obviously 3 points better off, like you said. We've scored 2 more goals in those fixtures. We've conceded in the same correlating fixtures 12 less goals. Our goal difference is plus 14 up on what it was in these fixtures. We've created 1 more XG, and our expected goals against is minus 5.8 compared to those fixtures.
Jesus,
that's
progression.
Fucking cooking. Like we just, if we end up third next week after beating Ipswich and the results go away, that is such a great place to be. Dick's out. I think Dicks have got to come out. I will get my dick out. Not on this podcast, but
the amount of you're gonna go a bit further than Gary Lineker did on Match of the Day. The amount of we wanker that we're gonna do if we get third next weekend. I mean, this is judging off results and stuff that go away, but the amount of told you so's we're gonna be giving out, it's gonna be unbelievable, and rival fans are not gonna be able to handle it. They're not gonna be able to handle it because there's this misconception that we are shit. We're not, but the frustration comes and stems from just us being weak and sloppy. But I actually see us, and there's a lot of parallels, but I actually see us in the exact same spot Liverpool were when we dicked them up 4-1 at Wembley. Yeah, that season you could see the progression. In fact, it was the game where it was like who at Liverpool and Spurs are going to take the leap. I was at that game. It was a demolition. Yeah, completely destroyed. But they had the Salahs. They still had good players.
Yeah,
but Lovren got absolutely done. Matip got absolutely done. Who was in goal? Was it Karius or Mignolet? It was someone.
Same shit, different.
But one of them, yeah, different name. But but it was that question of who's going to take the leap out of Spurs and Liverpool. And a year later, we're in a Champions League final against them. Yet they had Van Dijk and Alisson, and I think we are at that it's so clear to see, and actually that's where the frustration grew in the summer. But this is our chance to do it now. We're at that level where we are on the eclipse of achieving something special. We just need those game changers to be that catalyst and to push us an extra yard, and really rival the top teams. So that comes with a bit of patience and a bit of time. We're actually in quite a healthy trajectory still because we're in our second season under Postecoglou.
Yeah.
What was Klopp in that season for Liverpool? Was that his second or third season?
17, 18. Second full season, third, basically third season. Yeah.
Yeah, see where they were there, and then what they managed to achieve. And I mean, Klopp will be talked about for centuries for Liverpool. Postecoglou is going to be talked about for centuries for Spurs. You can feel it. I feel it in my balls.
I just look at him and I just think, I just
fucking want to cuddle him so bad.
He just backs him.
What do you reckon he smells like? Like, do you reckon he
stinks? No, I reckon he smells like.
Yeah, I reckon he does, but it's like it's like when you sniff your balls, you want to keep smelling it.
Yeah. It's got so quite Moorish actually.
Yeah, so quite it draws you to it, but you're like,
quite beautiful.
I don't like that, but yeah, there's something quite comforting about it.
Yeah,
I feel like Postecoglou, you smell him and you're like, oh, I want to smell that more. Like, what is that?
like a cheese. It's like.
Yeah. To be fair, that was probably a better example.
Yeah,
I don't do that.
I know what you mean, though.
I'm not sat at home playing FIFA and doing a Joachim Low. I'm not. I promise. Just fucking, I'm like 5-0 down against the AR. I'm just fucking sniffing up.
But do you know what though? You know how like girls say about their boyfriends, where it's like when they've come back from work or whatever, and they stink a little bit.
They're sweaty.
They quite like the smell of it because it's almost like quite the what's it? I don't know, like the hormones or whatever.
Natural
like,
musk, and like the pheromones and that they're releasing.
Want to kiss you. That's what my girlfriend does. Well, I've been sitting here all day working really hard. Just on the computer. They've been out grafting. I'm just like, I fucking smell. Just like editing a video. Just like,
I've just beat Huddersfield Town in the FA Cup and Football Manager. Fucking stink of BO in my room. Like, absolutely stink.
Not my quite the same as it. I'm like, that smells really nice. I reckon he smells of success.
Yeah, I reckon it's mixed with like a really, really expensive aftershave that his missus has got him.
That or like David,
and it's like a mix of that.
Yeah,
what's that?
I'm just like an aftershave, like just like a I don't know, like back in the day one. But I probably should have brought it up earlier, but I saw a quote from James Maddison where he got asked about what Postecoglou said at halftime, and he said the quote was, at halftime, he stayed so calm because he knows that we have got a chance to blow teams away in quick periods. Even at 1-0 down, he just said, get your heads up. We know we can go and score 4 goals and a half against any team because that is what we do with our intensity. Thankfully, that's exactly what we did and we blew them away. It's a man that backs himself to the end and to the core, and I will do exactly the same thing with this bloke. I see the vision, and I smell the vision, and we're gonna win the quadruple.
Yeah, he's fucking gone there again. Oh fucking sorry. I felt I could smell him then. Fucking made my nose and my eyes water. I actually feel like Postecoglou nicks his. How old's his son?
Like 18? I reckon like
they can use the. I reckon Postecoglou's the type of the dad that goes into his son's bedroom and just puts his
we got that son. We got you a new one, mate.
And
the money on that, mate. Yeah.
Anyway, so that was nothing what you just said.
Bit of like
I went back to the fucking what he smells like talk. But no, mate, he's just I just fucking love him so much.
Yeah. I'm going to tweet now. What aftershave does Ange Postecoglou wear?
Oh, man, that's going to bang. What does he wear? I feel like I don't think he wears aftershave. No, he definitely does. He definitely does.
I reckon he's definitely in the dressing room before, just like, he hasn't got spray aftershave. He's got the aftershave that you got to pour out, and he's just like that on his face, just like, and then like, fucking, and just like that. Like,
I reckon he gets a match day program, just rubs it on his neck. He just stinks of like fresh magazine when you open it up. And
just like the little tester that you get. He's like different aftershave on it every week.
But do you reckon he thinks about this stuff? Like I look at him and I don't think he's like, he's not someone that I reckon you give him a hug and he's like, Jesus, Millie, what you got on there?
Yeah,
that smells delicious.
Sonny,
it's like I don't think. Yeah, Sonny, what aftershave you got there? Like I don't think he cares about that. I think he's beyond that. It means more than that.
Is that Joe Malone? Is that
is that Ralph Lorraine? I don't know what he wear. I reckon his wife just gets some aftershave. He don't complain. He just puts it on because his wife loves it.
We've got a reply.
He's a family man.
Replied straight away with
already.
We can't even show it. We got this pointless. We can't even show it to the people, but I'll retweet it.
What is it?
Just go on my Twitter. I just retweeted it. So I just took Tottenham aftershave.
He lives and breathes Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah.
Everyone, that was There and Doing podcast. Thank you so much. We slapped Aston Villa up. Arsenal lost. Go enjoy your week. Galatasaray up next. I don't think there's going to be a preview for that game, but obviously there'll be a match reaction to that and then a preview for the Ipswich game. But also, if you haven't subscribed already,
I'll be honest. Sorry, before we end it, can I be honest?
Yeah.
I couldn't give a fuck what happens on Thursday. I've kind of just written off the Galatasaray game, like when it came out. I was like, "Welcome to hell" and all that shit. I can't be asked.
Yeah,
Obviously, I will watch the game and talk about it, but like,
I'm still riding this dopamine. I don't want to think about Galatasaray right now. Like I want to enjoy this performance for the whole week. That's the thing. We don't have Europe. It swings both ways. Like you have to dwell in a loss for a week when we have Europe, but you if you won, you could dwell in that win for a week. So it's like it goes back. Now there's a game in between. It's weird.
Yeah, when we're doing the Ipswich preview on Friday, I'm just like, Villa was the last game. It doesn't matter what happened last, unless we beat them. Then I'll be like, oh, what show great character this team has got. Honestly, going to Galatasaray and winning, what a team!
I love it. We have the chance. The thing is, though, I always get a bit nervous. I mean, we're going to get onto Ipswich next week, but I always get a little bit nervous, like when we're on the verge of international tournament. The last two games that we've ended a run of like games in the Premier League before the international break, we lost. Anyway, let's not fucking. I don't know why. I just put a bit of negativity in my head there, and now I'm like anxious.
Yeah.
Now let's enjoy your week. Enjoy that dopamine. Up the Spurs. If you haven't subscribed already, or hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed. Let us know what you thought. We love all the comments that come in. Thanks for getting your comments in as well for the pod. And enjoy your week. Legends.
Up the Spurs.